Hi folks, welcome to Set Apart Homestead. This is Travis. Well, today's video might get me some enemies. I don't know. I'm going to give you a disclaimer. It is a subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about, or that's very divisive. It causes arguments and problems, and it's kind of become one of those taboo subjects that we're just supposed to all accept one side of it, and not state our opinions or what is actually right and wrong. And so, well, I'm pretty good at opening mouth and inserting foot, so I'm going to talk about it. It's not specifically a homesteading prepper issue. To me it's an issue of morality that is tearing us apart, or that has the potential to do so here in this country, and just our society. So basically it's this, what I want to kind of call a gender war, I guess. I don't know, for the lack of better terms, what one would call it, where everything is gender neutral. There's non-binary, which is a term that I detest, where you don't choose a gender, you're just kind of gender neutral. And then of course there's a dozen, or maybe, I'm sure, a lot more other genders out there. It's not just male and female anymore. There's many different genders that you can choose to be, and so on and so forth. But the big push, it seems to be, is that things should be gender neutral, that we're not going to specifically teach our children that there is male and female, and that there is a difference between male and female, that we're just going to be gender neutral. And if for what crazy reason I can't figure out, a lot of the pro women's rights feminists seem to be on board, and to me it's doing more harm to their issues than anything. But anyway, so how this rant, and that's what this is. This is just a rant. This is my opinion based on my morals and my beliefs. But I think it's definitely something that we need to be aware of, and to be involved in, and to stand up. The only thing for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And that is what has happened for many, many years, that something comes around that we know good and well is evil. We know that it is wrong. We know that it is repugnant. And we sit by and we say, well, it's not for me to stand up and talk about it. It's not for me to speak out. As long as they're not bothering me, then I guess they can live their life. No, I believe we have a duty, especially myself and many others that are Bible-believing, God-fearing people that serve a risen Savior, that we have a duty to speak out against immorality and wickedness. And I believe it's also a patriotic duty to stand up and speak out against things like this, even though you're the minority, maybe, even though it's unfavorable. I believe we have a duty to speak out. And so I, this morning, thinking about what I might do a video on today, I had a lot of ideas, but nothing really set with me that, hey, that's a good one to talk about. And then I was reading some news reports on the Drudge Report, and an article popped out at me, and man, it got me fired up. And I went on a long rant with my wife, not against her, but just, what I'm saying, ranting and raving about it. So I thought it would be something to talk about, and I realized that YouTube isn't going to like this video. Yeah, I may even get my hands slapped because of producing it, but that's all right. The article seemed, on one hand, nothing big. Basically what they're saying, what the article was about, is that this artificial intelligence stuff, which is a whole nother subject that we need to be aware of. But anyways, the artificial intelligence stuff, they have developed a non-binary voice for artificial intelligence. For any of you that have heard things like Siri, or the Amazon one, I can't, the name just slipped my mind. You know, the little machine that you ask it, hey, you know, call the pizza place and order me a pizza, and it responds. And then, of course, big systems, artificial intelligence systems, they have their own voice, an actual audible voice that speaks. And typically, it is a female voice, although that you can choose it to be a male's voice. You can choose it to have an accent most of the time. But the standard, you know, default setting is a female voice. And, well, that is gender bias. So they have developed a voice, a computer voice that sounds gender neutral. They took voice recordings of people that claim that they call themselves a non-binary person, meaning that they don't choose a gender. And then they took those recordings, put them in the computer, and this panel of people chose one that sounded gender neutral. And the computer analyzed them and said, hey, you know, this voice here is not really male or female. It just kind of falls in the middle. And so that's what, you know, they're going to start going with. And they're encouraging companies that produce these artificial intelligence, or any company that produces software that has a computer voice, to start using this non-binary gender neutral voice. Because, and the article said this, that in using a woman's voice, we are just supporting these stereotypical ideas that a woman is helpful and caring and thoughtful. And I thought, well, why is that such a bad thing to you know, to support the idea that a woman is helpful, is, you know, caring and supportive and nurturing, because that's what it's, you know, that they are like an assistant, and so we should, you know, not do that, and everything should now be gender neutral. This is not something new that's happening. It's been going on for a while, and although it's not the front page of news, if you look around for it, you will find articles referencing this subject just about every day. There was one last week. There's a organization that supports gender neutral, whatever, transgender, binary, blah, blah, blah. They are suing the Veterans Administration because the Veterans Administration's motto is a quote from Abraham Lincoln. And I don't have the quote memorized, but it goes something like this, that, you know, and some of you may know exactly the quote I'm talking about, especially veterans, that to support him or he that serves his country, basically, and to support his widow and his children is the purpose of the Veterans Administration. And it's a direct quote from Abraham Lincoln, and it uses the pronouns he and him. So they're suing the Veterans Administration to have them change that motto to a gender-neutral pronouns, meaning like it or they, not he or she, but a gender-neutral pronoun. And I get it. There's lots of women in the military, and it's not that I have a specific problem with that. But it is a male-dominated, and especially in the past, a male-dominated branch of the government and organization. And, you know, are the female military personnel that sensitive? I don't think so. And it really even didn't say of any cases where women in the military were having an issue with it. It's this outside organization that has an issue with it. And so they're suing the Veterans Administration, and it really doesn't matter whether they win or lose. It's going to cost taxpayer money. There was another one. This one I'll try to keep it as G-rated as possible as I can. There is a new drug that's coming out on the market. It is a very specific type of hormone that causes the man's mammary gland area to produce milk. This is not the same thing as drugs that a man would take to have a change to a woman. It's not the same thing. These are for men that they're a man, but they can take this drug and that they can now breastfeed their child or a child. They're selling this as, well, this is great for women's liberation because, hey, now it's not just the woman's job. The man can share in this, and the man that we can share. that is something that is, and I get it, I'm not a woman, that a woman should be proud of, that only she can do. A mother should be proud of that. That's something that only she can do, that is very nurturing for the child, and also nourishing the child, physically nourishing the child. So now there is drugs that you can take that will cause the men to produce milk so that they too can, feed their children. What is wrong with this world? I mean, it is a mental illness. People have a mental illness. There may be some watching this, and there may be people that tune into this video just because of the subject that's never watched my channel before. And so I suspect that may happen, because that's how YouTube works. Something controversial, there may be people that will watch it that has no interest in anything else I talk about. And they may just get on here and want to, rant and call names. I am not a bigoted person that hates or looks down upon anyone. It's something that I have, really focused on in my life, to look at everyone through fair and equal eyes. Is there a difference between men and women? Absolutely. I mean, you don't have to be a doctor to know that. There is a difference. There's a difference physically, biologically, mentally, psychologically. There's a difference. Does it mean that women are lesser than men? No, not at all. So why is there this war on saying that you are a man or you're a woman? And I'm not talking about the people that are, transgender. I'm talking about that it is becoming an issue for me to identify as a man, or to use the pronouns he or him or her or she. There is a push to raise our children gender neutral, that you should not teach your child through their childhood that they are a man or a woman or a boy or a girl. You wait until they become adults so they can choose themselves what they want to be. That is sick. There is a mental illness. It is a sickening mental illness in this country, in our culture. It's not just this country, but hey, that's where we're at. That you and I need to be aware of. And we need to have the courage to speak out against it. It is not popular. The media and the social media will attack you. They will burn you at the stake if you speak out on this type of stuff. Before I did this video, because this was a subject that I chose, I did a little searching online on the subject of just how people are reacting. And I mean, there are people that are being attacked verbally and through social media for speaking out against this non-binary thing. It is becoming worse and worse. I have no doubt that if this continues, that within my lifetime, it will be considered a hate crime to be gender specific, or to identify someone with their, proper gender pronoun, that, oh, she is across the street. Did you call her on the phone? He came and picked up the kid from school today. That will be considered a hate crime. I'm serious. You may think I'm a little crazy, but I'm telling you, start looking into this and see where it's going. It is appalling that there's such a push for this. I've even seen this in where certain churches are supporting this. So-called churches, so-called Christians are. Sorry, it's not my position to judge whether that was wrong of me, and I do apologize. But there are people that are Christians, that are from churches and pastors, that are also pushing for this, we need to be sensitive to their gender placement, and, not, push upon them a specific gender, because they may be, in confusion and have not chosen their specific gender. So we will use a non-binary, gender-neutral term to refer to people. I'm sorry. I was created a man. I was born a man, I've lived as a man, and I will die as a man. My wife was created, born, lived, and will die as a woman. That's just how it works. When you go out in nature, you have males and females. That's how we are created. It's not something that changes. Even if you don't believe in creation or the Bible, nature, let's say you believe in evolution. I'm going to go down that path for just a little bit. Let's say that you believe in evolution. Would things evolve to the state that we're in now if people just chose their gender? If everyone decided they wanted to be female and they became female? Well, it kind of puts a stop to reproduction, doesn't it? If nature, just all the, deer in this part of the state, we're a bunch of females. That's what we are. Well, it's not going to take very long before they become extinct. It's not how things work. You and I were created to be either a man or a woman. It's that simple. It's plain. There's not 75 different genders out there. And what is worse is that there is a push to not just proclaim that there are these different genders, but to force you to raise your children, to force you to teach your children that they are gender neutral until they choose otherwise, to force you to refer to others in a non-binary, gender neutral way. And I have no doubt, again, I'll say it again, I have no doubt, I may be wrong, I'm wrong a lot of times about things, but I feel in my heart, if this does not change, that in my lifetime we'll see a day where people are being attacked and prosecuted in some way because they use a gender-specific terms. It's already happening. There's a case in Great Britain where a woman online, it is similar. I mean, it's not exactly this, but there was a man that is now a woman, and it was on some message board in Great Britain online, and this woman that knew that it was not really a man, that it was a woman, said, hey, you're really a guy. You're not a woman. Everyone, this is not a woman. He's trying to say he's a woman. He's not. He's a man. They're prosecuting that person. I think she's looking at like 3 to 6 months potential jail time for saying that. So it's happening. We live in the end times, folks. My grandfather was one of the most godly people I ever knew. And he passed away many, many years ago when I was a child. And I remember him many times saying that if God doesn't come back soon, he's going to have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. Meaning that he destroyed those cities because of their repugnant wickedness. And look at how we have become today as a people, as a nation, as a culture, as a society. It's disgusting. People, don't back down. Don't fall into the social justice warriors argument that you can't speak out against wrong and speak up for right. It is our duty. It is our duty to take a stand, because when we do nothing, that's when evil wins. And again, you may think I'm a horrible person for saying this, but this whole gender neutral, teaching your children multiple gender things, it's pure evilness. It is wrong and it is unnatural. That is my opinion. It doesn't mean you have to have it. And I'm not going to force you to have my opinions. These are my opinions, and they're based on my morals and my beliefs from a book that I read and I believe in. So anyways, I understand this may not be the subject that a lot of you want to talk about or hear about, but it is something that we as a people need to be talking about, because look through our past at the things that have happened in this country because too many of you and I didn't speak out about it, and now it's just a norm. So be of good courage, because that's what it takes nowadays. All right, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.